Now, moving on to our first speaker. Look, I can see him just kind of scrunching in here. He's ready to go here. And he's working on innovative planning and mentoring. And his introduction says, when you're in a new job or a new role, the 4 words that you probably don't want to hear are, just figure it out. Now, our first speaker today wants to share about times he really needed a mentor's guidance, but that mentor was unhelpful or unavailable. So please welcome to the lectern with his speech, Just Figure It Out, Steve Lanham. Take it away, Steve.
I never cared much for Gordon Cross. Now, Gordon was a real brainiac and had an ego to match. In fact, he was a member of Mensa. Now, when I started my IT career, computer programming career in Huntsville, Alabama at Intergraph Corporation, Gordon was one of the people that was already on staff. Like I said, he knew his stuff. I didn't have a lot of self-confidence back in those days, especially when it came to computer programming. So I needed some help. So I thought, well, I'll go ask Gordon. I went over to Gordon. I said, Gordon, I have a question. And Gordon, typing on his keyboard, just looking down. He said, I have a question. Did not look at me. So I asked him the question I had about shared libraries, whatever it was. And he stopped for a second, looked at me, and he said, just figure it out. Some mentor Gordon turned out to be Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Now, everybody knows that computer programmers aren't especially known for their emotional intelligence. But really, Gordon? How about just a little bit of help? Come on, man. A newbie like I was at that time, I needed a little mentoring. I needed a little hand-holding. But it wasn't there. Just figure it out. Now, unfortunately, I've had some similar experiences in Toastmasters. Just figure it out. So mentoring myth number 1. Now, probably my most embarrassing moment ever in Toastmasters happened when I was an area director. We called them area governors back then, but I'll try to use the current terminology. I may slide back and forth. But as a new fledgling area director, it was my job to set up the area speech contest. We have one coming up here in the next few weeks. So I set the date, sent out a boatload of emails, asking people to serve in a variety of capacities, judges, counters, ballot counters, whatever. But I didn't do one very important thing. I didn't follow up. No follow-up emails, no follow-up phone calls. So the Thursday before the contest on Saturday, I looked around and realized, looking at my emails, no one had committed to being a judge. I didn't have any judges lined up for my contest 2 days later. It was too late to scramble. So I had to cancel that area speech contest and reschedule it later on. I was so humiliated. Now add to that, just insult added to injury. I also ordered my own area contest trophies. No one thought to tell me, hey, the district provides trophies for area contests. And then I had to dicker, plead, bargain with the district hierarchy to actually pay for the trophies that I bought. Eventually they did. But this is another situation reminiscent of Gordon Cross, where I was told basically, just figure it out. Mentoring myth number 2. It happened a year later. Now, I served as area director. I was going to move up to division director that next year. And I remembered that fiasco from the year before when I was area director. I didn't want anything happening like that again. I knew I needed some mentoring. I knew I needed some guidance. So I asked the division director a couple of terms back, Jim, if he would serve as my mentor. And Jim, being the gregarious, outgoing guy that he is, said, sure, I'll do it. So as I started, I sent him an email. No response. A week later, I sent him another email on a different topic. Crickets. Then I sent him a text message. I called him. And each time, nothing came out of that. I finally realized there's no help coming my way. Mentoring myth number 2. Just figure it out. Now, moving on to mentoring myth number 3. That same year, I was the division director, and we would go to these meetings called the DEC meetings, District Executive Committee meetings, and there our district director, Eileen at the time, mentioned that it would be a good idea for all of us division directors and area directors to start new clubs. I took that to heart, being the devoted leader that I was. Only thing was, I had never started a club. I'd never been around the formation of a new club. I didn't know anybody who'd started a new club. So I asked Eileen, how do you go about doing that? You know what she told me? Just get 20 people together and start a club. Okay. I raised my hand again. I need a little more detail than that. But that's all she had to offer. Just get 20 people together and start a new club. So, what did I have to do with this mentoring myth number 3? Just figure it out. Now, mentoring myth number 4. This happened way before all these others. I was going to be in my first Toastmaster speech contest. Our club didn't have a contest. I was going to the area for the first time. Got there, the first speaker got up, contest master introduced the speaker name, title, speaker name, and then after a few seconds, sat down. Second contestant, same thing. It's my time to come up. I start with my beautiful introduction to my speech, and the contest master didn't sit down. I spoke some more, 30 seconds, a minute and a half. The contest master still standing there awkwardly. Finally, about halfway through my speech, he slinks off stage and lets me have the stage myself. Later, I found out that in that district, the cue for the contest master to sit down was for the speaker to say, contest master, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Then they would sit down. But nobody thought to tell me that. Once again, just figure it out. So there you have it, 4 examples of how a mentor could have really helped me in Toastmasters. Now, the thing is, Midway Toastmasters has a great mentoring program. We don't throw people out to the wolves. We don't take that Gordon Cross approach to mentoring here in our club. No, we nurture people. We support people. We have the infrastructure set up in our club to mentor people to success. So in Midway Toastmasters, I do not have to figure it out, Mr. Toastmaster.